I suppose it's and not only is it one of the best,
Mm,
it, it's a proper adaptation in that it changes
mm,
things in adaptation, and that
yeah.
might be okay. You don't have to be slavishly faithful to the original text. You
Mm.
can make changes,
And
judicious changes, and
yeah.
it can work. It can, in this case, make the author of the original story think about it. Oh, take another look at it and think, oh,
Well,
that's a good
this is it,
idea. Yeah.
and I've always admired writers that allow their work to go on to become films, because
Mm.
sometimes it's very hard from a writer
Yeah, it can be very
perspective
protective of
to
it.
kind
Yeah,
of let go.
understandably, but
Yeah,
then
but the
once
thing
you
is,
as we've talked about before, once you publish something,
yep,
it doesn't
hmm
belong to you anymore. It
it
belongs to
doesn't
the
belong to
public.
you.
That's
Yeah,
what publish
and
means.
also if you think of it, these are different mediums. A
Mm. Mm.
movie is very different from a
Yep.
book. A
Yep.
book is very different from a play. A
Yep.
play is very different from an opera. All forms of art are different. If
Yep.
drawing is different from charcoal. Charcoal is different from oil paint. Oil
Yeah.
paint is different from sculpture.
Yeah.
They are all different. It's an individual medium, and it's going to be different. You cannot have, virtually impossible to take what is in a book and put it onto screen, put it onto celluloid. That's why, for so many years, everybody wouldn't touch Lord of the Rings because they thought
It's
it couldn't be done.
it's the thing is it's the issue of fidelity, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
we sort of we have this idea that, oh, you got to be faithful to the original text, and it's like, well,
Mm.
yes, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to transpose every bloody word of it into the
No,
script, into your
no,
script.
yeah.
The fidelity is about the meaning or the tone or the
Mm.
of the original piece, and not necessarily that. In adaptation, you might change the meaning or the tone of the original piece
Yeah.
and make something new. So
Yes.
actually, fidelity to the original,
Mm.
to the source material is not, as far as I'm concerned, it's not that important. In fact, if
Yeah.
anything, it can be a hindrance, not a thing to be, you know,
Exactly.
like a
It's
guiding principle.
Yeah, and that's why I've always, I'm not a big reader because of my dyslexia.
Yeah.
Film movies are my books. They always have been. That's, why I'm able to do this with you, because I've been watching movies, since I was, well, I just remember watching black and white movies. I remember Lauren Hardy, um, and I've always found it struggled to read, and I did do my Mount Everest. I did read Lord of the Rings before watching the movies, and I'm really glad I did that.
I remember you telling me. Yeah, I was
And
very impressed. I struggled with it, and I don't have
mm,
dyslexia.
but the thing is, as I said earlier, they are different mediums. You
Yes.
can't expect a book to be as good as a film, or a film to be as good as a
Well, it's
book,
not a
because
question of
of
being good as
good.
it's a
Yeah,
question of
it's the
accurate
feeling.
or
Yeah,
accuracy or
and
fidelity to the.
you
It's that's not what it's about.
Yeah, you're going to have fans,
Well, you
and
can be
even
faithful in different
even
ways.
yeah. So I remember to this day Christopher Lee doing interviews when he was doing Lord of the Rings, and Christopher Lee was a
Yeah,
serious Tolkien fan,
yeah. He knew
serious.
him, didn't he? He met him
He met him, he knew him, and also he would read Lord of the Rings every year. He
every
would
Christmas or whatever. Yeah,
religiously he would read
yeah.
it out, and
And
obviously
thinking
he was
about it,
over
like
the
it's
moon. He was over the moon to be, incorporated into the film. But he knew that there was no way that Jackson could do what the books could do. He knew that.
mm,
And he wasn't going to be, going, oh no, it's perfection. There were certain
mm.
things that he wanted to be in the film that could be in the film, but you can't take everything that is in a book and put it onto celluloid.
I
It
mean,
just doesn't work. It
It helps that
can't.
he'd been working in films for decades at that point,
Exactly.
So I suppose it helps that
Exactly.
he had that
So,
nous to kind of, or that
mm,
savvy to kind of know, well, look, I know you can't. Well,
mm,
look, I know you can't. I can't do Christopher Lee
yeah,
impression. His voice is too deep.
yeah,
But yeah, he can't sort of, he understands that as a film artist
yeah.
himself, as an actor, but still, I don't know how many films did he make? 250, 300 films or something stupid.
Yeah,
But yeah, but it's good that he could set aside
exactly. So
his sort of attachment to the books. Yeah.
lovers of books, love the books,
Mm.
because
No,
the
the book
books are there to be loved.
and the
If you're
books
the
aren't
lover
going
of the
anywhere.
films, Love the
Yeah.
films. If you're a lover of plays, go see
If you
the
love both,
play.
that's great too.
There's a difference between watching an adaptation of a play or, you know, watching a play on TV is different from being in the audience. Being
Yeah, oh god, yeah,
at the
definitely.
theatre is very different,
Yeah.
and I love the
Especially if you're in
theatre.
the front
Yeah,
row.
exactly.
And it's at the the young Vic, and you're seeing
Yeah,
I saw Death of a Salesman a few years ago at the young Vic
yeah.
with what's
Hmm.
his name? Bunk from The Wire. What's the actor's
Well,
name? Him playing Willie Loman in Death of a Salesman. That was like, oh my
hmm.
God. And I'm not a big theatre guy. I go to the theatre sometimes now and again, but I'm not a big, mainly because I have friends who are actors and I can see their plays.
What about when
But,
we
but, but,
saw? Hmm,
oh, Few
sorry.
Good Men. Yeah, yeah, but I'll come
For
to that in a
yeah,
minute. But
Rob Lowe playing Few Good
yeah,
Men. Amazing. That was
I was talking about
brilliant.
that earlier, funny
Hmm,
enough. Well, again, a Rob Reiner connection as well, because Rob Reiner
hmm.
directed the film of A Few Good Men.